What does a street sign yearn for? Is it a daredevil spinning for the thrill? Or is it trapped on a never-ending ride? One that once was fun, but now feels like walls closing in. Twirling by the corner, the days of his cardboard life start to blur. Spinning, spinning. The longer he does this, the more he's known. But the harder it becomes to show the other potential hiding inside. He could have been a protest sign, stood for something. He could have been a canvas, art, a tchotchke at his favorite bar. But it's hard to take the leap because sometimes it's better to be known for something than nothing at all. Is he just another smiling Sisyphus? Or does he feel most free in the moments between when the man lets go and catches him again? Does time slow down as he gives into the moment and lets the world spin by? 1, 2, 3 times around, and suddenly anything feels possible. Or maybe he's a race car driver that doesn't care what brand he's hawking in order to feel the thrill just one more time. Around and around, faster and faster, higher, once more. Anyway, our hot dogs are buy one, get one.
I have a lot of shapes and not a lot of time, so let's just get started.
Comedy at its core is an observation and a twist, a mirror and an angle. Everything else comes down to style. In the comedy of Julio Torres, the inanimate world comes to life, and if you recognize this font, there's a chance he's the one to thank. Every object, every passerby fills with rich internal worlds ready for the limelight. Inner turmoil imbued into the everyday. The overlooked becomes the overanalyzed, and the humor lies in the absurdity in between. Julio Torres is a comedian who broke through writing on SNL, and with his stand-up special My Favorite Shapes. He created and stars in the TV series Los Espookys and Fantasmas, and the film Problemista, his directorial debut. Lucky for us, Julio stays busy. Torres' style is singular. It lives in its own world and creates new ones inside of our own. It's comedy that borders on ethereal, when most just settle for funny. And that's what's special. It's not entirely of this world, but a tether between. A place where the seemingly small parts of life, suddenly, fill with an opportunity for drama worthy of a Real Housewife, and make you laugh at the illusion left behind. What Jim Gaffigan was for snack food, Julio Torres is for household appliances with a mood disorder. In his most famous sketch, Papyrus, the Avatar logo sends Ryan Gosling on a desperate quest for answers. High drama brought into a seemingly small choice of a font for a poster. A conspiracy of carelessness. But Torres knows that every fabric of the way modern life came to be is worth reimagining, whether it's clear crayons or wells for sensitive boys. It's the work of an artist whose inner child never let go of the wheel. When you hear alien, close your eyes. What do you see? Most likely it's a creature in space steering saucers through the stars. In the US, an alien is either ET or an immigrant, a leftover Latin phrase for a stranger in a strange land that feels weird to say in modern times. But when you submit for a skill-based visa in the US, you are legally applying as a, quote, alien of extraordinary talents. To Julio Torres, born in El Salvador, as he worked his way through the hellscape of American bureaucracy, climbing in and out of the maze, the outer space meaning made much more sense. Like he here was an extraterrestrial, otherworldly, looking for his bearings. Seemingly the only one noticing how bizarre this all was, how weird it is to pay to prove you exist. That you can't work because you need to pay for a visa, but you can't pay for the visa if you're legally not allowed to work. That you need references to prove that your worth is worthwhile enough.
What is proof of existence?
That even if you designed the dress.
No, you mean to say I made a dress.
No. I can show you.
You'll probably end up still doing DoorDash. A lot of his work uses the immigration process itself to show how absurd our reality actually is. And when placed against that backdrop, it lets us see that the way he begins to picture things might not be so far-fetched after all. His semi-autobiographical debut feature is about a toy designer named Alejandro trying to get a visa sponsored before time runs out. In this world, if you run out of time, you cease to exist. Poof, gone. ATMs personified,
I stand with Bank of America.
earrings with careers,
Jessica works in PR.
Existential crises caused by the curtain that holds classes apart on a plane. It's the surreal and the absurd masquerading as reality to remind us all how malleable our own world can be when you give it a new lens.
And then I asked, why? And in her eyes, I saw meteors falling, flowers blooming, and animals decomposing. And suddenly, she was free.
And it's all held together with this playful silliness, this joy, like we're all inside of his toy box waiting to see what he imagines next. And in the stand-up special, My Favorite Shapes, that's exactly what's happening. A conveyor belt brings out found objects and their inner worlds in the most elaborate game of show and tell I've ever seen.
Just a little alien playing with my toys, but this time to a captive audience.
It's funny how much of adult life still is show and tell, just with extra steps. The way he approaches the show sets him apart as well. Comedy and visual craft traditionally don't always share the stage together. Stand-up specials are typically a nondescript theater and a spotlit microphone. Sketch shows and sitcoms prioritize lower production value, handheld cameras, relatable living rooms, and a DIY aesthetic to feel organic, to tell you it's relatable. Like if it takes itself less seriously, the comedy will follow. And that is effective, but it's not the only way. Julio Torres crafts these magical sets, elaborate costumes, he appears on late night like a pop artist and crafts unique visual worlds around his characters, in a way that doesn't distract, but solidifies. Just like you might recognize Mitch Hedberg from a joke structure or Tim and Eric from an editing style, Torres uses aesthetics to strengthen his own comedic voice. What I love about Julio Torres' work is that it's comedy that feels freeing. It's about seeing someone look at the world in a way that is truly unique. It's fascinating, yes, spectacle in itself for sure, but also it's permission. It's what the alt comedy world does best. Take something you thought you knew and it shows you another way. Not through force, but by being. Even when it doesn't hit, the approach feels novel enough that it keeps you along until it does. And what I love about his brand of silliness is that it usually doesn't acknowledge its own silliness or absurdity, it accepts it, plays it straight, while being the furthest thing from it. The world he creates is treated as the world that is. It's not just commenting on the way things are, like some true-to-life sitcom, but creating a world all its own. In Los Espookys, the Spanish language comedy he created with Fred Armisen, a group of friends create businesses out of elaborate spookings and hauntings and hoaxes to help people get out of little lies or elaborate plots. And it's a given that there's a market from this. There's no convincing, it's a sort of, oh yeah, of course, energy carrying throughout it all.
¿Qué tal si la atrapamos dentro del espejo?
Como un espejo embrujado.
Exacto.
The logic doesn't play by your rules. His character is heir to a chocolate empire and friends with the moon itself. It's a kid's cartoon with an adult understanding, an absurd point of view, and an ambitiously talented crew. It has the spirit of a child playing make-believe with a friend on a summer day. Maybe that's why he clicks. It reminds me of that time. And it's not just that it buys into the world and its rules, but his style is that they're taken almost desperately seriously. An urgency and drama added to the everyday, but done with pageantry that gives it the characteristic of reality TV stars.
Yeah, the first shape that I need to show you.
Shapes with wants and desires and self-consciousness, a cactus with existential longing in Spanish because he fears he's lost in a cosmic eternal deja vu as he yearns in his cactus diary.
But I went through his diary and I found this.
An adult sees a child playing with an imaginary friend as this cute moment in time, but something fleeting, soon to pass. But to the child, it's everything. Thanks for watching. I'm Ryan Harper. This is Niche Nonsense. See you next time.
And as I was just deciding all of that, I thought, oh, I'm sorry, is this one of the many good jobs that I'm stealing from hardworking Americans? Because, look, I'm just doing it because no one else was doing it and it needed to be done.